All right, we are live, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. We are here. We are back, and we had some technical difficulties, and really, the technical difficulty was me with the schedule. So we laugh about it later. We just laugh about it later. But we are here. We are here. We are live, and I got my new friend here, Leanne, and she's going to show us. She's going to show us how to fail at outsourcing, maybe do it better. Is that correct, Leanne?
Yep, definitely.
All right, let's do it then. We're gonna see because I'm so excited to figure out how she's gonna show us today on this episode of the Authority Project. All right, and we are back. We got a quick comment already saying you gotta love technology. Yes, we had some troubles before now. You just don't understand. But here we are, and we are here with Leanne, and she's gonna show us some great things. I got a lot of questions for you today, so I hope you're ready. I know you're early in the morning over there. So here we are. Here we are. Can you just first of all just tell us who you are personally and then professionally?
Okay, so that's a lot of different branding for me in my head right away because I have different branding on my personal life and my business life. So my name is Sian Lai. Professionally, I founded and run a company called 2XU Executive Services. Personally, I'm a bookworm. Like right before this, I'm still reading the sixth book of Harry Potter. I just reread books just out of
Wow.
a whim.
Wow.
And I basically have been became CEO when I was 19 years old, mostly because my boss asked who wants to be CEO of the company next. I said me. So that shows you a little bit of how intense I can be, and also how just game I am to taking risks and just growing
Wow.
my own life.
I love it. I love it. And we have a lot of questions today. It's an incredible little topic we got going on today. So let's just get started. No, well, actually, I want to go back to your backstory first. Tell us how you got started with this journey of where you are now. Can you go back to the beginning for just real quick for us?
Oh, you're in for a ride. So,
Okay.
so for if it's not too obvious with my brown skin, I'm from the Philippines. I'm in the Philippines. I'm in Cebu City, Philippines. And my story really starts when I was 18 years old. I was still going to, one of the top schools here in the Philippines. And then I went through a typhoon, Category 5 typhoon, where I almost died in my
Oh
own
wow.
house
Oh
because
wow.
water started flooding in our house. The water was neck high on me, and there was, how they say your life flashes before your eyes right before you die. It happened.
Yeah.
Like
Wow.
it wasn't just my life, it was my life moving forward. And at that time, my mom and I had a plan. I go to college, I go to law school, I try to find a job actually in the US, and then try to be and that was the path. And I saw that, and I hated it with a burning passion for some
Wow.
reason. And I didn't have like an alternative plan of what else I would do. My only other plan at that time was, if everything else fails, I would become a journalist for the New York Times. So
Wow.
that was the projection that I was going. And then it was that split second that I decided I'm going to change my life. I'm going to change something. I didn't know what. I was literally 18 years old, still living with my parents, still going to
Yeah.
college.
Yeah.
And then we got out, luckily, from our hometown. It was completely devastated. It was Typhoon Haiyan, where about like
Mm.
20,000 people died, 15
Oh
to
wow.
20,000 people died. And then in small steps, I kept just taking risks. Like at 18, I self-published my own book. I moved here to the city. It was actually for an on-the-job training, but I ended up staying. So I stopped going to school actually because the PTSD was really bad. It still kind of is. There's still days when it's really bad, but it's moved
Mm.
here on my own at 18, had a little shoebox place. It's like right now I'm lucky, but my bathroom is bigger than what my room was before.
Wow.
I'm renting at about $100 a month. That was how small and how cheap the rent was.
Yeah.
And then I got a job at this company that I'm still with. My boss is actually American, so at the first job that I got, I was still working for his U.S. company. I was outsourced, and then when he moved here, he was just looking around at the managers, and at that time, I already became a manager. And he asked, "Okay, who wants to become CEO of the publishing company? Because we're starting new companies." And I bookworm. I said, yes, sure, let me at him. I literally right now have no dream that I can speak of at this moment. So I just went for it. And then years later, the publishing company is now outsourced to someone else. Someone else is taking care of it.
Wow.
And then now last year we started this company, this outsourcing company.
I love it. So let's dive in. Let's dive into the topic of today. How do we fail? Tell us all the ways of failing at outsourcing.
Well, the first one is always the giving the wrong thing to whoever you're trying to hire. That's always the first thing. I've seen that too many times where they would read an article or a book or four-week or Big Bets in Paris, and they would see, oh, I could give this part of my business because I'm really tired of this part of my
Right.
business to my assistant.
Right.
But that's the first thing that you would fail at, because if it's not like systematized, or if it's the thing that's making your business money and you're outsourcing that to someone else, that will fail.
Wow.
Because
Okay.
we always want to outsource the thing that's draining us, the thing that's taking too many hours, and that is usually okay. But you have to actually look at that. Is this task by itself helping me make money, or is it just helping? Is it one of the things that then help me make money? Because if it's your first time outsourcing, you really want to focus on just the things that help you make money, like the usual social media marketing, lead generation, the usual things that you would give to an assistant for a reason, because it's just a step towards making that sale or closing that deal. So that's the first thing that I see so many people fail a lot, is just giving their assistant everything and then kicking back and relax. We're just gonna have a
Right.
4-hour work week. But
Okay.
that doesn't work. That's
Okay.
the first sure way to fail at getting your assistant to hurt a client, or worse, hurt your branding and long term. So that's the first thing I always see people failing at.
Awesome. So how how do we go forward with that? What is the better way if we're leading to that first step? What is the better way? This place where we're making the most money, what should be outsourced as far as that's concerned? If that's a problem, if that's overloading, if it's too much for that person right now to handle, how does one go about that with outsourcing?
Well, first, I recommend studying 80/20 principle by Richard Koch. That's just the book that I refer. Inside of our company, when we onboard new clients, I go through like an hour long, like not screening, but just get to know you, just so I can
Okay.
get to the gist of what they actually need. So 80/20 principle states that 20% of what you do, so just, 2 out of the 10 steps that you're doing is actually making you the 80% of your money. And only like that big 80% is only making you 20%. So you want to find that 80% of things that's only generating you 20%, systematize that, and then give it to you to an assistant, or hire someone for it.
I love it. I love it. Anything else? Any other things that we're failing at? What's next that we're failing at? I'm just gonna go ahead and dive into that.
Well, next is just not being able to automate things. That's the biggest one. Is that's it. It goes hand in hand with just giving your assistant literally anything. Is not automating it, not being able to get to the point where you have some sort of SOP, or I even sometimes just tell my clients, just record yourself doing this one thing and then just give it to your assistant, even that way, because a lot of the time, and it's just, again, this is just a common mistake of, we think that once you give an instruction to an assistant, they'll just get it right there. But then, especially if you just hired them, they will make mistakes. They will think, especially if they had like experience with another boss, they will
Right.
treat it as that way unless you teach them something else.
Right.
And a lot of entrepreneurs don't want to make the time. They don't want to, like, oh, they'll figure it out. but then it's going to cost you time and money later on. So
Right.
that's the second one, is not being able to automate, because the magic of that, like from my story, I've now actually outsourced the company that was given to me to someone else, and someone else is now taking care of it. And that's because of automation. For a good year, I wasn't really doing much. I was mostly just helping, like advising on this company, helping them on like whatever it is that comes up,
Right.
because she was taking care of it. She was taking like on it. And then 2XU came along, which actually also has a very interesting backstory of how that started. But it's been just awesome, just being able to automate. Like, I could disappear from the face of the earth, and the publishing company is going to be fine.
Right.
It's gotten to the point where it doesn't need me anymore. Like, I had actually just a meeting 2 weeks ago with their CEO, and said, hey, can you just be more a consultant? Can I just tap you, and then you don't have to be involved? I'm like, yes. I love it that you said that to me.
Exactly. I love it.
Yeah,
So I like this step because I think people try to, when they get into an entrepreneur state, basically, they don't see that this is not much different than where you would just go to a regular job and get training. You're not going to go to a job and like they're going to hand over the reins to you and say you figure it out. There's got to be some kind of training. There's always some kind of training. We're going to train you and show you what we want you to do. So why that's
exactly.
different with an entrepreneur, I do not know. So that's perfect that you said that. I'm so glad you said that. It just makes so much sense. So any other things we're failing at here that you want to dive into?
Well, I want to comment on that, where why entrepreneurs
Okay.
think, mostly because entrepreneurs hate being an employee.
Right. That's true.
So we don't notice these things.
Right. Right. Exactly.
So one of the other ways that people fail at outsourcing is not cultivating loyalty. So a lot of the time, especially if we're outsourcing, we think of them as like, oh, they're just another notch. They're just another number. They're just another person that's far away. We kind of tend to detach ourselves. And I've been working from home actually since I was 15 years old. I started out as a writer. So I've been in this space for almost 10 years now. So when it comes to that, I feel that same thing of, if my employer does not value me, I just think of it as a transactional thing. I'm just like, then as a writer, I just create an article, give it to them, receive money, that's it. This is the first company where my boss cared about me. My boss went to my 19th birthday party on another island just because he wanted to meet my family and like get to know my background. So it was very different being treated as a person, as someone who is actually valued in a company. So how do you foster loyalty? One is, you have no idea who they are. You have no idea. You can't touch them because they're outsourced. Just how you can't right now. We both can't meet in person because I'm halfway around the world.
Right.
It's basically giving them trust right away, even though it's hard. It's weird to give trust to someone you've never met. But that's the first way, is you have to trust that they can get the job done, and not too much of micromanaging. Like, if you micromanage, that does not foster loyalty, because of course they just, again, like my example, I just want to get it done. I don't even care about that my old employer's companies, because they didn't show me that I should care. So if you want people to stay, because of course you now have gone through the process of figuring out what to give to them and then automating it, you want them to stay. you
Yeah.
want to make sure that they don't leave your company hanging, and then they actually help your company grow, especially if you like them. So you want to foster that loyalty. And within the Philippines, if you're hiring from the Philippines, you know how in the US, and this is a story that my boss told me, in the US, it's kind of weird when the boss asks like, hey, how are you doing? How's your family? If the boss asks that.
Yeah.
Here in the Philippines, it's actually rude.
Oh, really?
Here,
Okay.
because we're very family centered, we're very like Catholic country. We like it when our boss asks about our family, about if they last heard that something happened to our family members, or checking in on us. It's
Yeah.
actually super important to us. And that's one of the ways that you show just cultural differences. Basically, it's one of the ways that you show that you care about them. You see them as a person, not just another person who is just working for your company. And you foster loyalty by checking in. We have like just one word sentence that we give to our clients of like, just say, hey, how are you doing? And is there anything I can do to help? It's just being that ready of, you are not the one you're not being the one being like serviced. You're the one in
Right.
service of them, because
Right.
as an employer, your job now is to make sure that they have all that they need to be able to get their job done, so they can help you and your business. So that's the third thing, is just not fostering, just thinking of your again employee as just a number, as just like as someone that you just hired and you pay, and that's it. They're not even human for you, and I've seen that happen
Right.
many times.
Right. Right. So basically, like retention, right? So if you're bringing on somebody, you're investing in this person. Don't treat them like a robot, like you said. Treat them
Mm-hmm.
like a real person, like it's a relationship. You want to, it will be better to keep the person along, so there's some continuity, for your
Mm-hmm.
business, instead of just,
Yep.
yeah. So I love that. I love that. Do you think? I'm just throwing this out there. Do you think that because there are places where, you have your Fivers and your other
Mm-hmm.
places like that, your Upworks and that kind of thing, Guru, do you think because these sites are out there like that it brings along that mentality that I'm just going to give this guy to work, him to do his work, and I don't care who he is, just do this? Do you think there's a problem with connecting that way, as far as that, and as far as cultivating a relationship with an outsourced worker?
That brings me to the next fail, which is
Okay.
basically that of not knowing the difference between a freelancer and your employee. So,
Okay.
like you mentioned, Fiverr, Upwork, these cultivate more of, like you said, give. You're done. You give me what I asked for. But then on the other side of it, I'm just remembering, I have a friend who has had a Upwork employee, and she just does all his video editing for like the last 10 years. And I
Wow.
actually met her because at one point my friend flew here from the US here, and we did like a speaking gig. And his assistant, that assistant that he's been working for the last 10 years, was like, she would describe him like, he's super nice. He like gives me bonuses from time to time when I do a really good job.
Oh,
I've
wow.
I've loved having this, even though it's an Upwork relationship. He
Yeah.
sends in a file for her to edit, and then she gives, and then pay. But he worked actually to cultivate that relationship still, because thinking of his business for the long run, thinking of his business as something that is not just short term. It's not just giving this person just videos. It's also thinking of like, I'm going to have this business for a long time. I'm just going to cultivate this relationship. But on the other side, that's more of, if you're just thinking of someone as a freelancer. When someone is an employee, they can help you be more just grow your company better, because they are thinking about your business. They're not worried about having to find another job after they finish your job. They know that they're stable. You're giving them that stability when they're a full-time employee, or even just at least 20 to 30 hour work, because then they're not worried. Again, they're not worried about that next job. They're not worried
Yeah.
about you kicking them out for just all of a sudden because of the business. So then they start having ideas in the shower. They start thinking of ways that they can
Mm.
help improve your business.
Yeah.
That's basically what my boss did. By the way, what has ended up happening is he bought like a big condo here in Cebu, and all of the managers live here, and he's literally next door to me, and he does
Really?
not have to do any of these interviews. I'm the one doing them. He has gotten me. I am like the most proof that whatever he's been doing is working,
Wow.
because I
Wow.
I was the one who's now up at 7 a.m. doing an interview, because he got me to the point where I wanted to really grow myself. I wanted to help grow his company. So that's the power of knowing what to give them, being able to automate things, loyalty, trusting them, and then knowing the difference between freelancer and employee. I'm just the most proof, because six
Yeah.
years later, I am the one doing all of the branding. I'm the one who wants to grow, who wants to start new businesses with him, and it's all because of what I'm talking about right now.
I love it. I love that. Okay. Is there another step? Is there another fail?
I think
If not,
the
I have
last
some more questions for you, but go right ahead.
I think the last one is, other than loyalty, is investing in them in the way where you give them just training. So, for example, for me, I have read, I think in the last, just being in this company, just not because I'm a bibliophile. I've read like 100 books on business, on marketing. That's actually, I'm paid to read. I'm actually paid to study
Oh,
these courses. I'm
I
actually
like.
paid, like it's part of it's part of the required hours that I put in this much. Of course, now I'm not anymore hourly, which is awesome. But
Wow.
I read books like E-Myth, How to Win Friends and Influence People, because my boss put in the like, okay, if you were going to be here in the company in the long run, you have to have the mindset of an entrepreneur, and it helps. Like for him, a lot of the time, things that come up to me, I don't have to talk to him because I know how to deal with it, because he's given me the same courses that he went through. So it's just that it's investing in their training of not being scared that they're going to run away just because they're now quote unquote better than you, because your employee will never be better than you because you have so much experience before you hired them. So you have
Yeah.
to keep that in mind of investing in your employee helps them grow, so that it helps them grow your business or whatever it is that you do moving forward, because that's just what happens. It's just a natural thing. I just hired about 2 months ago someone who was actually a chemical engineer. Like she graduated as a chemical engineer, came to me, said, I want to work from home, I want to take care of my kid. I taught her copywriting, I gave her all of the books that I gave her. Now she's helping the client that we have for the executive assistant business, and now she's just killing it. She just sends me sometimes like, hey, can you check on my copy? And I'm like, I have nothing to change here. And that's in two
Awesome.
months of her not knowing anything about copywriting to me investing and like making sure. And then we would do that where she would just send me copy and I would do edits, and then lately I'm just like, I have nothing to edit. You kick butt on this copy.
Wow.
So it's making sure that you don't just, again, it's going back to not treating them as a robot, treating them as a human who needs to grow so they can grow your business.
Awesome. So if that's the last fail,
Yes.
I got a list of other questions that I'm sure our audience would like to hear. So hopefully this will help out for them as well. So tell us in your experience, some of the easy things that one can do for outsourced work. Either one can do for outsourced work or give out to a person if you're doing a business or something. Let me say, scratch that. Let me say that all over again because I was so jumbled. I'm so sorry. What I was trying to say is, say if somebody is just getting your business up and running, what can they do as far as outsourced work that might be simple, something that's simple or that can catch on and do right away? I guess that's my question.
I have a list of 100 things actually.
Wow.
I have, I've been, like I said, I've been doing this a while. I've been working from home for 10 years since I was just in high school. So I do have that list, but it's usually things that, again, it's the 80% of the things that you're doing that's not actually directly making you that much money. So it's email management, calendar management. It's, of course, if you give them your email and calendar, make sure that you give them a video of how to manage that. It's social media. That's usually the first thing that I recommend because that does take a lot of time. Like when I hired my own assistant, that's the first thing I gave her. Like, can you help? Like, this is what you do. Can you help me take care of it? It's that. It's actually, as a cheat, I'm gonna check on my own PDF.
Okay. No worries.
All right.
No worries.
I'm going to look at it because it's a long list. It's basically anything that it may be something that you're not techie with. So, for example, web design, of course, if you're not someone who's really good at it, you probably just want to give that to someone else.
Yeah.
If graphic design, especially if you're just not someone who's good at it, then that's something that you should outsource. You should not force yourself to learn a whole new thing just because, especially if it's not connected to what you do, to what the thing that makes you money. It's just background, your branding, it's your website, it's setting up emails maybe. If you're not really good at email marketing, it's better to give that to someone else. It's outsourcing. If you are like going on calendar management, if you're going on a call with someone, my assistant is like super amazing at this. I barely trained her, but she just got it. I give her like the name. I give her the name of the person. Like, hey, I'm going to have a meeting with this person, and she's going to research the heck out of them. She's going to like give me like their LinkedIn. She's going to give me how many kids they have. She's going to give me like just a really thorough background. Another one is this. Like my assistant got you.
Right. She did.
It's just getting speaking engagements, getting podcast engagements.
Right.
You met my assistant before you met me. So that's definitely something that you can outsource, is just work that, again, It's not the one that's not the ones that directly makes you money. Although later on, of course, you can outsource sales, you can outsource marketing, but you have to, your business has to grow to a certain point. But it's the 80% that only makes you about 20%, or brings you to the point where you can start making money. That's the first ones that you would want to give to them. So, yeah.
I love it. I love it. So what out of those are those the most in demand, like social media? What do you find out when people come to you? What's in the most in demand right now? You think?
Well, that's always the first one. It's actually social media, because
Yeah,
it is very, it's very tiring. It's very, like, you would know,
yeah,
like, you create so much
yeah,
content. It's
yeah.
always the first one that's most draining. And it's also the one that's easiest to automate. Um, so that's the first one. Others is just any most admin tasks, like, actually, like, I was talking about automation. When you create that video, one of the things that I asked my assistant to do is that I would ask her to create the SOP. I would ask her to
Yeah.
create the written actual documentation for it. So other the social media admin tasks, researching, like I said, researching, like, possible events you can speak at, or events that you want to attend. It's getting you featured again on podcasts or
Right.
on other places. Another one would be maintaining relationships, like, not super managing your relationships, but maintaining, like, sending out a birthday card to
Ah,
people that you really like. It could be, if watching up for their social media, if they did a milestone, like, if they hit, like, 1 million followers on somewhere, just sending, like, hey, awesome job, like, here's something. It's again, think of the things that's right now taking not even a lot of time, but it takes you away from making money, and those are the things that you can easily outsource.
I love it. Okay, so here we are. When is it right to start thinking about outsourcing as a business person? Can you tell us that?
Perfect question. So you are actually ready to outsource before you even think you're ready to outsource. Not even outsource, just hiring in general.
Okay.
Because a lot of the time, and I went through this, where when we started 2XU, when we were starting, like, getting clients and stuff, I didn't want to hire my assistant right away, because I was too, like, no, 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 it's still not ready yet. It's still not ready. I went through this, even though I know all of this.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's definitely thinking of that, of you are the moment, basically. Okay, the easiest way is the moment you're making more money than your expenses, then you can kind of start already thinking of hiring someone. So I guess I can refer to my boss, when with him, because he was still in the US when he started, like, outsourcing. He made barely, I think he said that he made, like, just $500 in his, and he used the 200, because then, in the Philippines, our minimum wage here is sadly about 150, which is, I really don't like it that it's that way, but
Mm,
it's
yeah.
our way of living here. So what
Yeah.
he did was, once he got $500 in the publishing company, he used the 200 to then hire his first graphic artist to then start creating covers. And then, of course, as the company grew, he just had more employees, where it was able to pay more. So that's the first thing, is once you start making money, that's moving forward. It's not like you reach a spike and then you drop off. It's once it's actually steady enough that you
Yeah.
know that you can keep paying someone.
Yeah.
That's when you want to start hiring.
I love it. Okay. So just going off of that, outsourcing now in this climate of the pandemic, how is that going with which maybe in your experience or in your business right now? How is that working? Is it still something that should be done right now? Is there an issue with getting workers right now? Is it what is the current climate right now as far as this whole thing is concerned, as far as getting the outsourcing work right now?
Well, honestly, right now is the best time to outsource, and the
Okay.
reason why is about 8 million Filipinos have just lost their jobs. I think, if
Oh,
I remember right.
really?
I remember seeing a statistic somewhere,
Okay.
because, we either had to, right now, I am in the longest lockdown in the world. We are still in a lockdown where I'm at, and we've been in lockdown since March. So a
Wow.
lot of people have lost their jobs or were forced to quit because they were living outside of the city limits. And at one point, we were locked down, like, no one could come in or out in our city. So
Okay.
they were forced to either quit their jobs or leave their jobs or forced to move in the city. So right now, a lot of really smart Filipinos, a lot of really amazing Filipinos have lost their jobs and are now looking. So on the other side of me being an outsourcer, I actually also train VAs just really quickly on the side. I actually have my moniker there, which is the Work Anywhere Challenge. So
Love
that's a
it.
course that I'm doing for Filipino VAs, is
Love it.
teaching
Love
them
it.
how to work from home. And I've had so many people come to me. Because I always talk about my experience of working from home since I was 15. I have
Yeah.
15-year-olds chatting me just last night asking me for advice because their client
Wow.
asked them about their age, and she was honest. And I was like, that's good. That's good that you're honest. It's better that you're honest.
Right.
So right now is the time, because more and more, and it's of course here, if you search the word outsourcing in Google Trends inside, or work from home, or online jobs on Google Trends in the Philippines, it has skyrocketed just because more people are seeing this as now a real job. Because I remember when I first started working online, my mom did not see it as a real job. So it's now becoming just a norm to work from home, to work online here in the Philippines. So again, there's a lot of really smart people, smart Filipinos, who are now just ready to do literally anything just to keep their family afloat, because our government is amazing in a lot of ways. In a lot of ways, no one has been prepared for
No
this
one.
lockdowns for however long that we've now been. Yeah, it's been 4 months. I have not seen any of our employees in person in 4 months.
Mm.
Other than the people who I live with, I haven't seen anyone else. So that's just what's happening here in the Philippines, is more people are switching to working from home. Again, people who have had office jobs for the longest time, who are trained up, who are ready to just start working from home, are now looking for jobs. So right now is actually the perfect time for it.
Awesome. And Cindy chimed with a comment, said outsourcing the process. I'm not sure if that's a question or she wants to know the process maybe of outsourcing. I think not sure if we've dived into that. Maybe kind of have, but if you, Cindy, if you want to clarify that real quick for us, that'd be great. That'd be wonderful before we get out of here. But I have another one here. Talk to us about budget. What
Okay.
is the minimum one should be looking for, whether you're an outsourced worker or if you're a business person, as far as, you know, I know there are different countries, different countries that are doing, this kind of work, but just to talk about your experience in the Philippines. I guess that might be the best thing at this point.
Well, on budget, it depends on the skill and the level of skill. So those are always the go hand in hand. Like if you're hiring a web developer here, someone who actually, either will create an app for you, or create your website for you, the range is about $1,000 a month. That's on, and even sometimes 2,000. Again, it depends on how long they've been doing it and how much valuable their skill is. So that's on the high range. On like the not lower range, but like on the starting
Yeah.
range of like social media managers, of maybe content creators, I would say about $400 a month to start with, because these are people who are, and again, if this is if they have experience, you can maybe go to 350 if you're the one helping them get trained, and I've gotten to that point. But it really depends on your budget, how fast you think that person can grow, because a lot, like I said, hired a chemical engineer 2 months ago, and now she's doing copywriting like it's nothing to her. So it
Right.
depends on their rate of growth also, but that's the range. It's about 400 to 1,000. It depends on the skill, and of course just your own budget, where you're at in the business.
I love it. Okay, so I got two more questions, and we will be out of here. I promise. I'm
It's
loving
okay.
you're just on it today. You're on it today, Leanne. Okay. How long of a contract should one expect from beginning a certain project with a employee or an outsourced worker?
So this goes back to freelancer versus employee. If you want someone to, if it's a kind of job that you think it's going to be a recurring thing, I would recommend just hiring them, either starting out part time, where it's 20 hours to 30 hours a week, or full time with just 40 hours a week. You can either start that way. And by the way, here, when you are working online, you get to actually get the full maximum of that 30-40 hour a week versus in an office where there's like, gossiping, there's water cooler talk, because you can see their time. You can use applications like Help Staff where it takes a screenshot of their computer every 10 minutes. They can delete that if something comes up that they don't want you to see. But on the other side of that, if it's just a project, it depends on your expertise. You can ask other people who maybe have hired for the same project and how long it took them, because it really depends. Like an app could take 6 months to a year, but just writing an article just takes like a day to maybe or to make. For me, it takes me an hour to make, but that's because I've been writing since I was like 12, so it's really faster for me. So it really depends on, again, if you want to have them as a freelancer or as an employee who just works with you in the long run. Because when I started out, I was just a book editor. I was just editing grammar out of fiction books, which was, again, dream job for me because I'm a bibliophile. I was a professional bibliophile.
Wow.
So that was for me. And then, I learned social media marketing, I did digital marketing, book marketing, became CEO, and now running an outsourcing company. So anyone can be taught any skill. So it depends now on if you're looking at them as a freelancer versus just another, just not another employee, but as an employee that you want to have in your business.
I love it. So this is the last question. I ask this all of my guests. So people are here. They're watching you. They love your story. They love who you are. They love your excitement. They love your energy. They want to be Leanne. Okay. They want to do the thing that you're doing. So, because you're obviously an authority in this field, obviously. What can you tell them, if it's like a 1, 2, 3 step or whatever, of how to be just like you in this space and be an authority with outsourcing? That's the question.
Well, have a mentor is always the first one. Okay. Like that's how I was able to switch from being just the employee, being the outsource, to being the outsourcee. That's the first easiest way for me, was having a mentor who was ready to teach me. Of course, because I was his employee, it was easier for him to know that he can teach me in the long run. But having that's the first thing, is having a mentor who can not so much as to tell you what to do, but at least just direct you. Like that's the thing that my boss has always done, is he doesn't really tell me what to do. He asks me first what I want to do, and then we decide from there. We find the middle ground from there, and then that's the first thing. So find a mentor who can teach you, or at least find a really good course out there. We have a course also in outsourcing, but find a good course out there where you can talk to the course creators, where you can ask them for advice. And the second thing would be to, I guess the second thing would be to invest a lot in yourself, because a lot of the time when we start outsourcing, we don't think that we need to take a management course, but we do. I've read all of the series in the 1 Minute Manager by Ken Blanchard. That's a book that I recommend highly for anyone who wants to start not just outsourcing but hiring. It's the 1 Minute Manager by Ken Blanchard. But then I started studying other management books. I even studied E-Myth as a management book because it still taught me how to, see both the manager and the technician and me as the entrepreneur, and how that all blends in, and how to invoke that kind of mentality with other people. Reading books like I've read so many books from Brene Brown, reading books like Simon Sinek. So seeing, now that hopefully you have some sort of mentor that you can ask questions back and forth. And now it's finding mentors who you probably can't reach to, but they're telling you the story through their books, through their courses. And the last one is taking action. Like that's the thing that a lot of people get stuck in, is actually taking that leap after reading something, after being so eager to learn, is now just taking action on the thing that they just learned. It's implementing that. Like for me, I have probably pissed off so many employees on my journey of becoming a manager and becoming someone who at this point where I'm now in authority when it comes to outsourcing. I probably pissed off a few, and I have to learn how to manage that. Of okay, I'm sorry, let me know how it can be better. So it's now just taking action and then getting feedback. So those are the 3 ones: is mentor, study, invest in yourself in studying, see how other people think, and then just taking action and then getting feedback.
I love it. And someone just chimed in and said, wonderful information. Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. I see what's in the background here is that reading books is a big thing for you.
Well,
Reading
for me,
books.
different people learn different ways. But for me, that's always been the way that I've been able to learn is reading from other people what they've done and their own shortcuts.
I love it. This is amazing stuff. Amazing, amazing. Please tell us for the people who will be eventually listening to this where they can find you and connect with you further.
Well, you guys, right there, there's a link to xu.com that directs to our outsourcing business where we help other people, help business owners and entrepreneurs have an executive assistant. Like I take care of everything of hiring, managing, growing the assistant so then they can serve you the best. Other ways is I do have on the other side of outsourcing, I do have a YouTube channel that teaches people how to become either a VA or whatever skill that they want to focus on. You guys can check out my YouTube channel, and
Oh, yeah.
that's the biggest one that I
Oh, yeah.
have. Yeah, flashing it right there. And I just find I find talking to a lot of different people like you, where you can see how other people think, because a lot of the time we forget that other people had different experiences than us. We
Yeah.
forget that there's different realities. Why was that so hard to say? But it's seeing other people, how people think. It's that's why on my channel I also actually interviews other people who have succeeded in being the outsourced, and I talk to them so other people can see that. And yeah, those are kind of my main two places. It's just 2xu.com and my YouTube. I have my Facebook page, but that's just another thing altogether. But yeah, those are the two places.
Awesome. And for the people listening, that's 2xyou.com, just to make sure you're not just putting a U in there, which would be a great domain. When we talked about the domain, that's a great domain.
I'll check the GoDaddy right after this.
But that 2xyou.com, I love it. Incredible information. You answered everything perfectly. I love your story. I love your energy. I love you already. You're doing incredible work, and I know you're helping a lot of people. And I definitely want people who are listening to this to definitely connect with her, because sometimes you need a great go-between to kind of help you along the ropes of outsourcing. Because sometimes you can do stuff that you're not really sure. And I think that's been part of my problem too. Sometimes you're just not really sure what you're doing. So a good go-between, check her out at this 2xu.com, connect with her, and do outsourcing the correct way. Don't be a fail. Don't do fails, but outsourcing. All right. That's the big thing of this program. Anything else you want to say before we get out of here, Leanne? Any words of wisdom at all? I give you the floor.
Well, comments is just this was awesome. This definitely woke me up. I did not need coffee today. I thought I would need coffee today, but apparently did not, because as you can tell, this is my passion. Talking about not just outsourcing, but growing your business in turn. And I guess my last nugget of wisdom is, if you are ready, if you even think you're feeling that you need to hire someone, just look at how other people are doing. That's always the first thing I recommend, is try to see if there's a mentor out there or someone else who in your space who's already outsourcing, or you can just ask me also. But that's just, again, you're more ready to outsource before you even think. You're more ready to hire before you even think that you are. So just keep open mind. Don't shut yourself that you can do everything yourself. Again, that's a trap I've seen so many entrepreneurs fall, is thinking that I can keep doing this. Yeah, I can do the 10 things on my to-do list like today, but you never end up doing it. So just be open to having someone else in your business who can actually help you get more done. And of course, not having your time be eaten up by it.
I love it. Awesome. That is perfect. It's a perfect way to end the segment here. I want to, just before we get out of here, let you know about our podcast is just launched up like a week ago, and we are doing an 8-week giveaway. We're going to give a digital product away each week. Last week we gave it to Bonnie Anderson. She won. She won what did she win? She won. Oh, she won this microphone I'm talking to right now. Microphone in the pop filter is what she won. And this week we're going to be giving away a gimbal stabilizer for your phone, so you can stabilize it very well. So that's a hot little item. So get on it today. We're going to It's going to be open today at 9:27 exactly. Go to theauthorityletter.com and get in there and subscribe and be a part of this. You want to make this a big thing, and just do that. We've been live streaming for a while, but we're getting into the podcast now. We got about 25 episodes out since last week, so we're moving strongly
Wow.
here. So and we're not stopping. So do that, be a part of that giveaway, and hey, you never know. You might get that you might get that stabilizer or whatever is going on for the next 8 weeks, people. 8 weeks. So take care. I appreciate you coming in. Fabulous work, Leanne, about outsourcing. I was so happy that you came here because we needed something just like this today. And that is it. That is a wrap for today. And yeah, we are out of here for the Authority Project.